Why do we like this pick?
I mean, the dude's just really good at Pango. If he's not playing his Mars, like Polaris respect the Mars, they banned it in first phase both games. Not going to give it to him. After that, I think like Pango's probably his second most played or something. At the very least, he is really just talented on it. You see those Polaris Pangos rolling off into the sunset, missing a bunch of heroes. This ain't Zhao Yu, bro. He's much better. He hits the targets. He does the thing. He's great. Sorry, Opaj, I love you.
And there's the range support they love to pick for Zhao Bonbon. This thing kind of touched on. They've been playing a lot of range 4s. Hoodwink, Shaman. This is kind of go-to for him.
Yeah, I was surprised last game that they did give him Nyx. Just obviously because we didn't think it was that good for the game. But also, yeah, Zhao Bonbon's been playing Shadow Shaman like a lot. I think he played Dark Willow as well. He loves ranged 4s. And I think that this patch, it's something that a lot of teams have been moving away from. We talk about the salve change. It's nice to have a 4-part position that's melee now so they can tank damage for you and then salve themselves.
What does it say on the web? What is our blank? Here's what their whiteboard. What is our goal? Ah, I like it. Their team house environment. I feel like RSG has done a lot of things right when it comes to like picking up a Dota 2 team and like setting them up for success. I remember them tweeting out they're looking for a coach. They brought in Ohio, like great veteran. Seems to be doing well as a coach. So, I feel like RSG are ticking all the right boxes. I'm very impressed by them as a new Dota org.
RSG stock's going up, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Singapore org, TI's in Singapore,
It's all aligning. It's all making sense. Just
Singaporean mid laner, these guys they're the real deal.
Yeah, I know Excellent was saying in that Ohio was telling the team like not to feel pressured to focus on what they're good at when they were like, losing a game or so. And it's like good. It's nice having a coach that's got your back. I'm happy to see RSG is like, they're just doing so good in Div 1 so far.
Yeah. I think they just really kind of stayed true to their play style and didn't try to like force or change too much, even though they were coming up to Div 1.
Yeah. I think Rogi was a really good pickup. Like, no hate towards Seal, but just having that like more veteran 5 position, like having a kind of calming presence on the team, especially from the interviews we've done with Rogi, just seems like the right kind of chill guy, good attitude to be a solid 5 position. I was kind of surprised when SMG parted ways with him. It almost felt like he was kind of like the scapegoat for some of their, poor Tour 1 results. Although they had a poor result. Like, I think Tour 1 SMG was like when they looked the most stable. But RSG picking him up was like, just like, it was an upgrade in my view.
We're approaching final picks for both teams. RSG going to have the first one out of this banning phase, and then Polaris having the overall final. Do you have any way in which you'd like to see RSG go with their last pick, or even Polaris, if you feel maybe there's a good combo with the Coddle or the Clock, assuming those two are going to be the supports?
It could be a Coddle mid still, and it could be a DK
Carry
off lane. I really don't know
I
what
did
they're
have
doing.
that going through my mind too.
Yeah.
All that we know is that it's probably carry last pick for Polaris.
Well, I think it's 100% is for RSG though. Like, they definitely need a carry. Whereas Polaris could flex.
But probably
DK
not.
carry.
Yeah, probably.
Dawnbreaker carry.
I mean, the one time we saw DK carry it was like to dodge a Batrider lane. I think they definitely want to match it up against Puck.
Whoa! Klink's coming back out! And I say back up because RSG were the ones I last saw do this in Division 2. These guys, they have a little kind of a pocket Klinks pick.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's good.
I was going to say, do you really like any of those?
I have not seen Klinks at all on the latest patch.
I like Klinks. I remember Europe East was playing it a lot in Tour 1 on just like a single. There was one. Was it Pure that was playing it? The Klinks?
Yeah, he was. You're right.
Yeah, and he was owning with it really hard. And like since then, like no other team has been playing with it. But I've been sitting here like I believe in it.
Yeah.
If I see it, I'm not gonna shit on it. It's good.
So against Klinks, I mean, I just feel like this is where players you want to have either heroes that get on Klinks. Illusion carries are also really good.
Yes. He cannot.
Yeah.
Cannot deal with
like
that.
You could just TB here almost. Like I guess the lane, you've got the Pango for the illusions. That's the one nice thing.
Warlock as well and the Pango. I'm not sure I want to pick illusion carries into.
That's true. Yeah, maybe. I think that's the thing. That's why Klinks I think isn't a good pick because it's bad versus illusions, but also bad at like the jump carry. So you may decide illusion carries are bad.
Oh my
Okay.
God!
Okay, I
God
was gonna bring
damn
it
it!
up. When I saw
God
the cuddle,
damn it!
when I saw the cuddle, I was gonna bring it up, right? You guys always
Just
point out cuddle's so
get
good
us-
for stacking stuff. I'm like, no way. There is no way they're gonna lead up to a Medusa pick. I was like, if I don't say it, it won't happen. But it has happened. The Medusa's been picked up. I'll let you guys express your despair over it soon. But first, we're gonna bring in Mike and John. See if they like the fact that Polaris have gone back to this Medusa, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I feel like it's a better Medusa game this game around because you don't have the Nyx and the Darkseid. I still don't think it's very good. The thing is, RSG with this Clinks is even more confusing, right? Like, is this POS one really good? I think you get to a stage where you have Gleipnir, and then it becomes busted with Warlock. So I think he just needs to get to Gleipnir, and it's happy days for RSG.
Yeah, I think the one thing with the Clinks is it is comfort for RSG, but we've seen that kind of fall off sometimes or hit a weird spike before that Gleipnir timing. So it's all about kind of buying that space for MKS, see what he can do on the Clinks. I think giving Xiaoyu his Pango, though, is a different story, along with Exilern on the puck once more. Like, here's are very comfy with, and we already saw Xiaoyu pull up spectacular game one. I think Polaris are going to have to get a stronger start from the lanes here.
We're jumping into game 2 very soon, but quickly, first blood, which team?
I don't. Polaris, I guess,
Polaris.
Clockwork and stuff.
All right, classic Caster Curse Polaris. So good, congratulations
Polaris
on the
gonna
first,
lose.
on the first,
Medusa-
on the first blood RSG.
Polaris are gonna win.
Well, it'll be interesting. But Mike and John, game 2, I'll ask you the same thing. First blood.
Thank you so much, Nat. First blood, Jonathan. I want to give it the way of Polaris. I think Dawnbreaker Clock, a very, very strong lane. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. And Polaris has much stronger first blood potential coming through. The lanes do look nice. You also have eventually splitting off the lanes with Force and Xavius. Chakra spam onto the Dawnbreaker to keep her spamming out the Celestial Hammer. Maybe find an opening with a Starbreaker. Maybe even run that tri lane for a little bit just to get that kill with a Clockwork. Lots more aggression that you can see coming through from the side of Polaris there. But, you know, First Blood doesn't necessarily win the game. So I think even if they find that First Blood in Polaris, I'm probably digging RSG's draft a little bit more. Like, there are question marks over the Clinks matchup versus Dusa. I feel like you can kind of mitigate that, like especially if your Clinks does go off to that running start. I wouldn't actually mind a diversion at some point to say an early diffusal could be one way to get some early aggression. You know, you could get a good slow with the inhibit, line up for the Burning Barrage anyway, and still play around with Fatal Bonds and have some good mana burn for the Dusa if you feel like that's an issue. So you have some answers. It probably doesn't feel like the best, and I don't know. We just got to see what MKS does, because you know it's some of these teams love their Clinks, and I think the last time we saw it was Chidori, right? Like, he ran it a lot in Dreammaker, he always made it work. Let's see, though. Starting to contest these runes a bit. Okay, is forced to back off, so should still be a 2-for-2. No First Bloods yet, Mike. Not grouping up yet.
No First Bloods yet, John. Going back to that, the point you were making about burning through the mana of Natsumi, like, you can imagine Zhao Yu, like, he's already got an earn up. I think he'll just go Vessel, Diffusal on the Pango. And along with the Witch's Blade on XE Learn, like, you're going to burn through the mana anyway. Like, Spirit Vessel, Diffusal on Pango, plus Witch's Blade. I don't think the Clinks needs to even care for the first 20-25 minutes of the game about the mana pool this Medusa, is the way I see it. And again, I think once you have the Gleipnir up in the Clinks, if you get to that stage where you have a really good timing on it, then I think it's scary days here for Polaris. But till then, they certainly have a draft that can make this game number 2 work. So I look forward to seeing what they get done, as we are staring at top lane right now. And naturally, Fatal Bond's already coming out here from Roger. Just wanting to get as much damage as humanly possible onto the enemies on the other side. And you already see, I mean, Xavius, he lost half his HP. It's pretty rough going against his Fatal Bonds level 1.
Yeah, it's more on the right clicks of Warlock. Roger gets a good angle to just shove in and kind of focus in on Xavius, get some right clicks off. Xavius can't really trade too much. I think the key thing with Fatal Bonds in this lane is it does allow you to equalize the push coming through from Polaris. They're trying to force in the wave. Fatal Bonds ensures that MKS can keep that wave equalized for the most part, not playing into that tower. And Roger's just constantly still chasing around Xavius. So you're having good time spacing out the Kotl, removing the threat of that early Illuminate, and just allowing your Clinks to kind of farm up. As long as the aggression can't come true from the side of Polaris, you're pretty happy with this lane. It's a Warlock lane with Clinks. It's not the most offensive, but it's very strong defensively, and you can just kind of sit back and farm.
Yeah. Of course, we should have a look at the other lanes as well. Mid lane, Exilern and Lelouch going to be going at it once again, and it's that same boring matchup again, John. Last time I didn't even let you say a word about it, but do you want to say something about this mid matchup?
No. It's
No?
DK
Perfect.
versus Puckmine. That's
very giga chat of you, John. We'll move down to the bot lane. TMV, of course, going to be there along with Natsumi on the Medusa against Xiao Bonbon and Xiao Yu. Talk about the Pango Hoodwink lane against the Clockwork Medusa, Jonathan.
There's a little bit of back and forth. You can try to cut off here on TMV once he does have the cogs to play with. You could just try to trap in Xiao Bonbon like this and try to get some aggression on. It's not the easiest time to lock in. Your Dusa follow-up isn't particularly amazing, so the kill threat isn't that high. And you are highly mobile in Xiao Yu, so he's not going to be under threat from that. The key thing is to just buy some space out, get some room for Natsumi to just play that farm game once more and try to build up. I think for Polaris' side, they should try to get control of the jungle a lot earlier. We saw a lot of blocks out from RSG early on, preventing that massive advantage for Natsumi from showing up too early. Polaris needs that. You know, Dusa's known as a late game hero, but it's not really ultra late game. It has a good mid game spike. If it does manage to leverage its farming, Polaris needs to get that in this game.
Gotta hate going against the Hoodwink as the clock though. Like, especially once you hit level 6 on Hoodwink, you could just sharpshooter out of the cogs every time. It's really frustrating to have to play against this Clockwork. Like, you might win during the laning stage just because Battery Assault cogs is so busted against a hero like Hoodwink, but I'm telling you, as soon as she gets sharpshooter, you could just spam that every time you get trapped in cogs, and they just can't hold you down. It's very, very annoying. Though, for now at least, TMV should have a very nice time, as he's going to try and move in and just interrupt the large camp pull that's happening. Bushwhack not actually going to land either. Very unfortunate there for Xiao Bonbon, and TMV, he's going to be safe for another day.
I think you probably aren't going to be trying to gun for the Hoodwink anyway in the middle of these fights. You would want to go for higher priority targets. I'd say the Warlock's actually a bigger threat in these team fights. If you can kind of catch Roger out, lock him in, it's still a pretty good time for TMV finding that backline, taking away that sustain, taking away the bonds, taking away the threat of chaotic offering, as Battery Assault does interrupt that cast point. Still, you are seeing there was early stacks being built up by Xavius. They are trying to get that advantage built up, or at least the gold pool built up for Natsumi down the line. Roger does scout out and does drop an Obs Ward to block the Ancient Camp at the least. It's going to be feeling good about just not allowing that easy build-up for Polaris. I think Xavius has to be on point with the D-wards. He has to know something was up with that movement. And, you know, while they're trying to stack up, that does remove the threat on MKS. Dawnbreaker up against Klink's solo lane. Klink's can kind of just manage and farm up, and he doesn't mind at all. Still looking at fairly even farm distribution so far. A little bit better for Natsumi down bot, but the Klink's not slowing down too badly either. Should still have a good timing towards that Maelstrom.
Well, can we talk about the Force Dawnbreaker though for a second? Because last game around, you and I talked about this during the break time. Force went for BKB Deso Rush on his Dawnbreaker last game. Now, mind you, it is a Pulse 3 Dawnbreaker, so fair enough, you might want a bit of damage. Do you think he goes a similar build to that? Because it didn't feel that impactful last game. In fact, hold that thought, because they might find MKS here. He does stick charge up, but it's not going to be enough. Speaking of the Devil Force, able to secure first blood here in the Dawnbreaker, and turns out we were right about that, Jonathan. But going back to my question, the item build on Force, what are you expecting?
I think the same thing. Phase Boots, double Bracer into BKB, and the Desolator, it still has value. I mean, it's the same situation. You have the Pause 1 Dusa, you have the Dragon Knight, you kind of want to soften them up. Dawnbreaker's probably your best choice to kind of get that minus armor going for yourself. I don't really see any other itemization. I think we've seen that Desolator build up a couple of times on the offlane Dawnbreaker, so it still has utility. The key thing is, you know, you're not going for the Ags build-up. I don't think you have to worry about interrupts on your Solar Guardian this game in comparison to last time where you were much more reliant on the BKB because of Nyx. So maybe not as much pressure to go into the Ags down the line, which should lead to just safe Solar Guardians landing true. I don't mind it. Just feels like the timing of that Deso has to be pretty quick to get the full impact from it, and last time around it just felt maybe a little bit too late for the follow-through. MKS still having a tough time. Dust on Force ensures that he can keep the chase here.
Yeah, this is where Force is very potent. With the phase boots up, he will secure another kill here on the Dawnbreaker, and this is the real strength of the hero. Like, laning stage, it's kind of impossible to fight against this hero unless you have something like a Viper. And phase boots up means he can always just be faster than the Klinks. So MKS struggling once again, still no brown boots up on that. Klinks is now mid lane, they've got the puck, but Xe Learn, at least for now, going to be fine as he will try to orb the other way, and will do so. They can't catch him. There's a Bushwhack is there as well. Xiao Bonbon setting up for really nothing there. Just a bit of harassment out. Xe Learn going to make his way out of there on the puck, no issues. Well, Polaris back to the drawing board.
And they're still getting that early aggression out. They're finding a good start here for Lelouch. Much stronger start for him on the mid once more. Getting a lot of gold over Excelern. Just having that threat of the push onto the mid. Saw that early Dream Coil tossed out by Excelern as well. Not quite landing to kill because that Solar Guardian coming on top to help save earlier on. So not really mounting up in the aggression for RSG. It does feel like they're also just waiting for levels to be up. Xiaoyu does have a 6, so he could be ready to go. MKS still having a rough time, but Xiaoyu is here to play with a role if they see that opportunity. Good read from Force to just back off entirely. I believe he did TP under the ward vision down bot.
They'll even find Roger here, who was doing something in the Radiant Triangle. I guess scouting out some stacks, maybe getting some vision down, but there appears to be none of it. He does actually put Fatal Bonds down in the creeps, so they're going to farm it up while they can. Knowing that Roger does have that information, and Force will be very happy to take most of that farm away on the Dawnbreaker. Going back to Force, John, I really do like the way he's itemized so far against the Clinks, because you know the Clinks isn't going to want brown boots. He wants to rush the Maelstrom. He doesn't have the movement speed, and that's why MKS has been struggling so much. Though mid lane, Lelouch is going to get caught out here with the Rolling Thunder of Xiaoyu and just completely locked down. He's trapped up. He does at least get knocked to the low ground, as now Roger is going to get jumped and does drop, but now Lelouch still in trouble, going to try and go for a run as they do try to protect him now. Xiaoyu, he's the one in danger. Force joins in, Illuminate to fly through, and Force able to take the kill on the Dawnbreaker. Lelouch able to survive through all of this damage. That's a big pickup there for Polaris Esports.
Punish Xiaoyu for looking for that aggression. He's been sitting on that role for a while. Doesn't quite get the kills he wants to top up his earn. And Polaris are finding their feet in this game. 5-0, 2K start. Much stronger start in comparison to Game 1. You have an overwhelming early lead for every core. 700 gold above every core of RSG. Very even farm distribution here as well. And now you've given Natsumi a very free lane down bot. No one to contest the Dusa. Farm is building up. Going into that same build-up. Power Treads into Manta, probably into that BKB once more. You are seeing RSG emphasize their own triangle a lot more here, though. They are building up stacks for MKS down the line, and the Maelstrom for the Clinks is still coming online at a pretty nifty point. So farm acceleration will kick in. It does feel like the Clinks does have very sensitive item timings, like that Gleipnir you mentioned has to be showing up by 20, maybe 25 minutes max if it's a really bad game. But you need that control. You need to be able to play with that Burning Barrage threat with a Gleipnir up and the Fatal Bonds on top of it and a nice clump up.
Bushwhack.
Are chasing TMV.
Yeah, bot lane, TMV. Yeah, caught out. Doesn't have hook shots, so can't hope to try and hook away, and is going to drop. That's actually the first pickup for RSG. Xiaoyu the one to secure it, but does feel like something they desperately needed here on the dire end of things, as it's been a very slow game for them on RSG's end. Again, it probably is naturally going to be a rather slow game considering you do have a +1 Clinks, but you do still need to get some kills on the board.
Yeah, you still want to get some aggression going. RSG does feel like they're just waiting for level 6 on the supports. We don't have that sharpshooter just yet in Xiaobon Bond, so they don't have big burst damage to follow through from, say, some of their control. And you don't have that threat of the golem just yet from Roger. Still level 4 on Warlock as well. So can't really do too much to force these things in. Polaris can just keep running and gunning with their combination on the Dawnbreaker, with this blink that's going to come through from Lelouch, even more threats of initiation. And the big thing right now for Polaris is this is so much space for Dusa. Again, had a free bot lane, switches down to mid, has the triangle pretty well protected. Look at all the sentries, just to ensure the camps aren't blocked off by Roger. So you will have this flash farm kicking in sooner rather than later for Natsumi, who does have a Yasha up into the Manta. Whereas in comparison, you're still lagging behind MKS. The Maelstrom is going to come, but you are still trying to farm against Dusa. The Dusa will just find a lot more, a lot faster than you can, even with that Burning Barrage Maelstrom combo.
But they will. Still top lane. Lelouch and Force are around, and they really want to force this in. The Dragon form is not up for another 10 seconds, so they are going to just leave the Siege Creep to do the work, as Roger trying to fight this back with the Fatal Bonds, but it's not going to be that easy. The Siege Creep eventually just going to have its way with the tower, and, well, RSG, they're not coming in to defend this one. They're going to let this one go. Seems like, again, they are just kind of relying on MKS to get his farm up, and, well, for now, he does pick up the Maelstrom, so his farm should escalate. Though Force going to go for a chase onto Roger now on that Warlock. Roger does get a deny off onto that top tier 1 tower, but it may cost him his own life as Force has the phase boots up now, gets the Starbreaker. Eventually, though, hook shot not gonna land, and with the golem to drop, they'll try to turn it around. Roger has not dropped. They are still trying to get him. John, I'm a clockwork spammer. I don't know how you miss. I'll be frank. I don't know how you missed that.
It's one of those things. Sometimes you expect them to walk a little bit further. We did see Roger kind of double back to try to avoid a Starbreaker, and maybe that threw off TMV's timing just a bit. Roger, a nice little sidestep. He didn't dodge the Starbreaker, but still threw off the tempo to kind of make that maybe a little bit of an awkward angle for TMV to find, and they get a pick off for themselves. Second kill of the game for RSG. That did take the Golem commitment, and they're not able to really push in with that Golem now, but they are getting some farm up, and they are still stalling out for that.
Well, Zhao Bonbon, nice attempt with the sharpshooter, but it's not going to be enough. Force. Another great initiation here from the Stormbreakers. They'll get the mid-tier 1. So great news for Polaris. All things being said and done, they're getting some fantastic objectives across the map. And now with the mid-tier 1 tower down, they can overtake the Dire jungle. And, you know, John, Klinks kind of reminds you of Medusa in a way. In fact, hold that thought, because Xavius is going to be in a spot of danger now. Spirit Vessel will be up, and eventually Xavius will drop. So they do get something for their trouble, though it does seem like Force has at least cancel the clarity of the puck. Seems like that's all he wanted. But back to the point, John, with that mid-tier 1 tower going down here for RSG, I mean, MKS and the Klinks, it is very reminiscent of having a POS 1 Medusa, because again, MKS, all he wants to do is farm the jungle. And now with the mid-tier 1 tower down, you can infiltrate that Dire jungle quite a lot. So I think this is great news for Polaris Esports, and it's just a matter of whether they can really start applying that pressure onto MKS now.
I think I don't think they're even worried about applying pressure onto the Klinks. More so for Polaris that they just want space for Natsumi. So whether or not that slows the Klinks down, they don't care. They know the Deuce is going to be out farming that Klinks anyway, no matter what the map state is, just by the nature of the hero. RSG are trying to get a push in down bot, but Polaris are grouped up for a smoke to counterplay here.
That they are. Polaris have been very good with these team fights thus far. 4K net worth advantage, though nice positioning from Zhao Bonbon. He'll get a bushwhack into a sharpshooter onto Force. So RSG thinking about taking the fight, but now Hookshot is there. TMB holding down the Hoodwink. The Cogs are going to push him the other way. Zhao Bonbon, he'll scurry. He is not dying yet. Bushwhack is back up as well. Now the Dream Coil, it will land. There's the Burning Barrage. It's not going to do much, but they've got Lelouch, they've got TMB, and they've got Force down. In fact, they even want Xavius. Zhao Bonbon barely dying on the Hoodwink, but he's done his job. Xavius will drop. 4 heroes getting wiped from Polaris, and it's all off the back of the Hoodwink not getting killed off fast enough.
Yeah, it's a bit of a small mistake from Polaris. The Blinding Light knocked Zhao Bonbon out of the Cogs and got pushed by the Cogs into the tree line where Scurry was still working. So managed to escape by a little bit of a misplay out from Polaris. They managed to capitalize on that on RSG's end, find a lot for their trouble. They still hold on to Golem threat here as well from Roger, but not going to force the issue. The good news for Polaris, though, is it's space for the Dedusa. So I think they still maintain this net worth lead. You're still comfortably ahead here on Natsumi, and he still has his triangle. It's a safe haven to build that farm up. Going into the Scotty now after this Manta. The buildup is still there. You just have to be cautious about that bleed out. They catch Roger out here.
They do. Roger should drop eventually, and TMB even got a hook shot just in case. Doesn't want to play any games here with the Warlock, so takes him out. Roger, he does actually have Golem up, so a bit of an unfortunate death for him, but respawn time not too high. Is now top lane. Zhao Yu gonna try and get a bit of trade going, and with the Spirit Vessel up, it's not too hard to secure this killer. Zhao Yu thinking about going for the Rolling Thunder, now has to, just to get away here. So he will actually try to turn around back onto Xavius, but is not going to be allowed. So no trade to come here for RSG as Zhao Yu will barely escape.
Backs off. He does force Solar Guardian out. That is a pretty long cooldown for Polaris to not play with, and even the Stone Gaze out from Natsumi. Not as long, but does take away that presence a little.
They found Zhao Bonbon, but they've got to get the kill. TMB, he does secure. Xe Learn, thinking about trying to move in, does have Dream Coil, but I doubt they have the damage. Instead, they'll find TMB on the clockwork, and MKS, he certainly has plenty of damage, but again, the Dream Coil is just not being committed. They want to hold out, and with Dream Coil, it's only a 75-second cooldown, but RSG, they'll hold out for now. Maybe expecting a bit more here from Polaris, but they'll get away scot-free, and now there's going to be a 3-man smoker.
Still have that Blink and Lelouch to use to jump forward. They see a couple of juicy targets. Xiao Yu could be the big one. Scan finds no one, but still have a clean angle for top here.
No Rolling Thunder either. In fact, Zhao Bonbon's going to show up. Wrong time, or maybe not. Bushwhack will save into the 4-star. They've got Zhao Yu protected, at least for now. Zhao Yu, hookshot is there. TMV still trying, but Zhao Yu just swashbuckles away and has Rolling Thunder back up in 4 seconds. Do they go for a chase? Not quite. Polaris, they do back out of there. Unable to pick off the Pango, and well, it turns out Zhao Bonbon was there at the right time, John. He does save the day here for Zhao Yu.
Great little bushwhack to cut off that blink initiation from Lelouch. Just stall out enough to get an opportunity for RSG. They smoke up themselves. As you mentioned, Dream Coil still ready. Golem drop still ready from Roger, and the roll is up from Xiao Yu with a fresh blink. So maybe this allows them to find an easier angle out. Force, the only hero down bot though, not the biggest one they'd want. They would want to try to swing towards Natsumi, but the mid-tier one still protects.
Oh, he's 100 gold away from the BKB as well, John. He just needs a recipe. That's a little bit unfortunate for Force. It's going to be set back behind once again on this Dawnbreaker, and a fair bit of gold to go the way of Zhao Yu. So happy days for the Pango. Another kill to go the way of RSG, and well, for Polaris, they are still running a Medusa drop. So they're still happy just hitting Creepsy with Natsumi. They're not in any kind of rush, but I think Polaris should still worry. We've seen how scary this Clinks can get if given enough time.
And it just boils down to the nature of Dusa once more. You want to be a hero that gets ahead by farming. You do have that net worth lead right now. It's only at the 2k advantage on Dusa with a 3k overall lead for Polaris. And that's still pretty playable for something like the Clinks. The early item timings of Clinks are highly impactful. And you already have that Maelstrom and the Dragonlance going for the Scotty next. More stats on play. And you still have that nice combination with the Fatal Bonds down the line anyway, which we haven't really seen just yet. Polaris, they're showing Natsumi up top. Xiao Yu is keeping track and doesn't quite have the role, but maybe feeling confident from Xiao Bonbon. They are ready to defend Reducer here, though.
Natsumi feeling safe for now. Zhao Bonbon will scurry and just try to run away, but a nice hook shot. TMV this time on target as Zhao Bonbon is not going to be able to get out, but now the Suns are there onto Natsumi. The Medusa slowed up as well, but we'll go for a Stone Gaze and keep running, though Zhao Yu continues to hold her down as they have got MKS to try and help out. Natsumi, oh, the Dream Coil, it's off the mark. Now they'll force the fight. Polaris, they want this one, but do they have the lockdown?
Oh,
They'll
no.
chase down MKS on the Clinks and he's gone. Roger, he could not get the Golem in time. TMV will survive as they'll get Roger on the Warlock. Good plays here from Force. Just tunnel visioning onto the Clinks and finding the exact target they wanted.
Yeah, and just a little bit shaky coming out from RSG. It looked like they had a good angle back in. They managed to isolate Natsumi, you know, get the early Stone Gaze popped and try to re-engage, but they missed the Dream Coil. They don't get a good use out of the Golem. And Polaris are just suddenly on top of you. MKS not able to pat out as well, opting to go into the triangle instead of joining his team into the tier 2, was cut off. And that's a massive punishment from Polaris. They take the tier 2, they take the outpost, open up Roshan for themselves if they want to, and now the Deuce is starting to feel a lot safer. 4k lead up on Natsumi, that is a major item for him that the Clinks won't have. Scotty fully up now on Natsumi as they will start that Roshan. Knowing that the Golem threat is gone, you do have the roll from RSG ready to go, but Xiao Yu is in the position to kind of contest that by himself.
No, Roshan. Very slowly dropping, but not quite. Zhao Bonbon has been spotted. Xavius going for a nice recall there on Lelouch, securing another kill onto the Hoodwink. And maybe now they could start Roshan again. Knowing the Hoodwink's down, you don't have that Acorn shot to scout the Roshan pit. Mind you, you still have Orb available from this puck, but it seems like bot lane is where all the action's happening as Dream Coil was there. They'll try for the Coddle first as the DK is just completely locked down. Eventually, though, they get the Keeper. Meanwhile, Roger does die across the map, but they will still secure a double here for MKS. But are they going to try and fight this Roshan? It's a very slow process here for Polaris. RSG, they certainly have the time to try and get there, but it seems like they've given up on it.
Nah, I think even if they did go in there, they don't have the roll, they don't have the Golem, they don't have Dream Coil, so forcing that fight is a bit dicey. The damage is still coming through. I mean, we talked about this potential, right? Battery Assault did clear out a lot of that HP from Roshan. Apparently the double damage does work on that as well. And RSG not really able to get much off the back of that. They get a couple of kills, do clear out mid, so it's not the worst scenario for RSG. But have to play safe now with 2 lives up, and Natsumi with all the gold he has. It is a risky endeavor to kind of jump him now. MKS switches up his itemization, is going for the Lincoln Sphere to protect against the Dragon Tail stun coming through here from Lelouch, but we're just seeing such great relocate plays coming out from Xavius. He sees an opportunity, he called someone in, he looks for the aggression, they're keeping control up top. Roger will take back that outpost, and we'll have Golem up shortly, but needs to be careful about sacrificing here.
Top lane, MKS again has been caught out. Lelouch with a great initiation. MKS, he needs the help right now, and he's not going to get it. Oh, that's a massive pickup here for Polaris. Great vision game as well from the Polaris boys, John. They've just got sentry wards everywhere. And poor old Klinks, he just cannot survive.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this build-up in MKS. Like, I get the Lincolns and why it's coming out. He does want to just protect from that single target stun on the Dragon Tail. But it feels like a BKB might give you more survivability up front, right? Like, he initially went for that ultimate orb for the Scotty, is forced to switch up. He could still fall back to the Scotty here if he feels like it. But you can't play the sneaky Klinks farming around the map anymore. But Polaris are ready for it. They have the information in the map. They know where the Klinks wants to play. They're ready to get punishment. Down bot, though.
Force. They can surely TP here down to the bot lane to try and help him out. There's one. Xiao Yu, he's just going to roll out of there. Not feeling confident, he'll TP away. Xiao Bon Bon does have TPs available, but looks like he's going to stick around and just keep clearing out this bottom wave and trying to force them back on Polaris, but they are into the mid-tier 2 tower now. Natsumi feeling very confident on the Medusa. It's very hard to see how you stop him, but they are going to make the jump in with the Dragon Tail and the hook shot. TMB, he's going to land right onto MKS. Oh, that was completely blind. He was trying to go into Xiao Yu. Now Roger drops. No buybacks available. Polaris, they should be able to go high ground.
Yeah. This is their early spike with the Medusa. You have a comfy lead, 4K above again, above the Klinks by a huge amount, and you can just use that item advantage in a big way. RSG been very cautious with using their teamfight spells. We haven't seen a Golem in a while. We need to see that connection with Dream Coil, Golem, and the Rolling Thunder on top. Maybe a good Bushwhack in the middle of that to kind of set up. And now forced to watch their mid fall apart. Top lane's open as well, only the bot lane's protected with that tier 1. And this is a massive push opportunity for players who still hold on to the Aegis as well for a good 2 minutes. So a lot of time to just do what they want. And RSG, and the counterplay can come true, but not quite keen on it. We'll surrender mid. Top does stay safe as players aren't looking to overextend. And now you have one lane that's constantly shoved in. You have a Klinks that still needs to build into the Scotty. MKS has made his mind up. You are trying to creep cut on Exilern and Walko and does spot Xavius, but not a safe spot to force a fight.
Well, certainly not. Exilern, he's going to try and go for a run here on this puck. Chase is on, but he should be able to be slippery enough to TP away as they have not got vision. The puck will be fine. Meanwhile, the rest of RSG have smoked up as 4. They won't have their puck to fight with, though, so it could be a bit of an awkward team fight as now Polaris, they know this. They want to force the fight without this puck. The Exilern is grouping up back with his team in this dire triangle. They run to the high ground. Lelouch has his smoke broken, but found Roger immediately onto the Warlock. They'll try to save Solar Guardian. It's going to be there to help out Lelouch as he will survive as Force continues to try and go after Roger. Meanwhile, towards the south, they found MKS on the Klinks again. You don't want to lose this Klinks, but he is gone. Polaris just playing this team fight way too clean. We'll try out the Xiao Bon Bon. Force is in again. Xiao trying to run but won't make it out. Polaris. You see how they target Roger every single time, John. He never gets the Golem Fatal Bonds off, and well, right after that they found MKS, and MKS, he's relying a bit too much on this Invis, I think, because he constantly gets caught out underneath the sentry.
Yeah, it's just down to how the Klinks really want to play. You really do want to play like a bit of an assassin, and just a few sentries counteracts that. Even his itemization plays into that. Nothing defensive, no early BKB, and it just leads to once you get caught out, you're kind of done for. Have to play the high ground defense now. Dream Coil is available. The Golem's still there from Roger. He has been patient. It is a level 1 Golem, so once you drop it, you're only really getting the stun out, right? Like, the HP isn't quite there. No level 12 insight for Roger, so you're not going to get too much presence in terms of getting some additional damage off that way, but at least the stun can be big. You do smoke up, immediately broken out by TMV though.
Jump in. They've got the clock. But stun is there. Lelouch again. Oh, that's a great bushwhack. Sharpshooter. Golem dropped. Maybe this is the team fight. RSG, they're doing a lot of damage right now. Dream Coil, hold down the Medusa. This is looking really terrible for Polaris, but Force, he's going to try and force the fight again. Buybacks are there, trying to help out. Still the mana pool of the Medusa is healthy, but not the long Natsumi. He'll pop the Stone Gaze in time. As RSG, they are forced to back off. They got two for their trouble. In fact, they're not done yet. TMB buys back and tries to hook shot in. He does get onto XC Learn, but it's not going to be good enough. He'll die back immediately. Oh boy. They don't want to start throwing it back the way of RSG like this. It's an unnecessary team fight to force. And now you've got a die back on your clock and a bit of gold to go back the way of the Dire.
Yeah, it's a lot of gold bouncing back there. 2k swing for RSG. Net worth lead still substantial here for Polaris. 9k up, still having a great time with Medusa. Natsumi doesn't get picked off. That was very awkward timing though. Aegis just expired. If they managed to keep that angle up, maybe get the Dream Coil break with the Rolling Thunder, you would have maybe seen a different scenario for Natsumi where he gets caught off and you get the punishment. They get the scan off onto MKS here though.
Oh, again. Force is in. He's got the gem up. The Clinks is in such big trouble. MKS still trying to run, but with the Eye of Skadi up, there's no chance. You've got to give it to Force as well, John. He's been doing a great job with his blink out as they found Roger. Lelouch and Force. A force to be reckoned with this game number 2. And I really do like the itemization from the Dawnbreaker this game. Screw the damage with the Desolator. Go for blink. Be that secondary initiator from the offlane that you want. And it's just been so hard for MKS and Roger to be able to survive the initial onslaught.
Yeah, they just can't do anything. They can't play the way they'd want to with the Clinks. Are trying to hold up here up top.
They are going to try. Onto the coddle they go. That'll be one down. Xavius is gone, but Zhao Yu needs to back out of there. It's a nice bushwhack. Will hold them down, but is quelled. Force, of course, with the Celestial Hammer just gets rid of the tree for the bushwhack. That'll allow the rest of Polaris to just walk out of there. So they do lose one, and they are still kind of struggling to get these tier 2 towers down, but I suppose it is only one tier 2 left anyway. And RSG, as long as they keep losing MKS, they are never making a comeback.
Yeah, they need to protect their Clinks, try to get this build up into the Skadi BKB. Once that BKB is up on MKS, that could be where things start to get a lot more interesting for RSG. They get more play potential from their core. Getting caught out might not be as big of a deal, although the chain stuns can still do you in for something like the Clinks, especially if you're caught off without the death pack running. So there's still a good window for players to play with. You still have this huge lead on Natsumi that's just not being stopped, but the triangle's just free game. They were blocking it earlier with Roger, didn't really apply that pressure onto that area. And now you're seeing the full benefits of having a free farm boost at 21k, 8k almost above any core from RSG. And RSG just having a tough time cracking that shell. They can find almost any other hero, but not the Deuce, even when they manage to focus in. And Polaris won't just go for that smoke play. No rush to play for yet. But if they find a kill, that could just lead to high ground once more.
Oh, I like that BKB up on the keeper as well, John. Xavius, he should have a much easier time surviving through these team fights now as... Oh, Roger, not again. He'll force staff away. A great bushwhack out from Zhao Bon. Now they can have the golem. Roger, though, is still in trouble. Still getting defeated as he does get taken down. Natsumi. Another double kill. Roger's gonna buy back. They're gonna try and go for this fight. MKS, he's in trouble. On the clinch, just trying to run away from this Dawnbreaker, but the Solar Bind holding him down. They are just not grouped up here. Polaris still going. Zhao Yu, there's your golem. There's your Dream Core and your Fatal Bond's out, but where's the damage output? They're trying to do with Force right now on the Dawnbreaker. He has held them back, but he might eventually drop and does. Still, Roger gonna die back immediately here to Lelouch. Can they keep the fight going? XE Learn, he's trying. But they can't deal with the Medusa Natsumi. He's just way too big this game. He'll back off. Instead, they'll chase down TMV. And eventually... Oh, they won't even find him. XE Learn has to jump back in to get the kill into the clockwork. And that's actually a successful team fight by RSG. But John, again, I've got to give props to Force. He just held them back. You saw the Dream Core, the Golem, the Fatal Bonds. Force would not let MKS get anywhere near that Dream Coil.
Yeah, it's tough. He's trying to go for the max range burning barrage, just sometimes doesn't reach, sometimes just doesn't get the good spread of damage he'd want. And even with the Fatal Bonds up, it feels like the Deuce is just not effective. Manta style on hand, BKB as well. You always have an option to purge off that Fatal Bonds. Natsumi's been very patient with his Manta style use, although excellent.
A very aggressive jump in. Xiao Yu going to follow up with the Rolling Thunder, but there's your Stone Gaze, and Xiao Yu, he is dying to the right-click damage of Natsumi. He needs to get out. Leilouche, meanwhile, is going to be fine with the BKB as MKS again has been caught out. The Solar Bind, it's torturing this poor man. They are torturing him, Jonathan. MKS is gone. Oh, he needed that BKB a lot sooner than this. But he's still trying to farm it up, but he gets Solar Binded once, he's just dead.
Yeah, they have so much control on the side of Polaris. Even Excellerant's not quite safe here. No, does at least have the orb to get away, buying some time. But the Roshan's now fully open for Natsumi. Not going to take too long to get this target out. And RSG going to have to try to play for the high ground. Again, they have decent enough high ground defense. They probably will have Golem in time for that defense as well, along with the Dream Coil. They need to make something happen in that combination. We're just not seeing it shine through as much. You have so much gold up on Natsumi. You have better itemization coming through from Force. Does have the Basher coming through now as well, so even more stuns potentially coming out. And yeah, just make easy work of Roshan. They give the free shard onto TMV. A rarity, Mike. They pass it on to the support.
Wow.
And TMV is going to have the jetpack to play with just to get even better angles off of the hook shot. For RSG right now, Mike, it does feel like a lot is banking on the puck to kind of just be disruptive. Stall the game out as best as you can. Cut the creep wave, although.
Yeah, top lane. Learn he's going to be okay. Going back to the shards that they gave to TMV, John, I think it's very good in this game, right? Because you're against Puck, Hoodwink, and Klinks. And Roger, for that matter. Like, you've got so many targets you want to catch out here as TMV or the rest of the team. That jetpack, it gives a lot of vision. Could be very, very nasty here against RSG.
Yeah, and it does feel like that's something RSG can't really play against well. You've seen just the flare spotting out the movement from Polaris does make it a lot easier to lock in RSG. Natsumi, with the Aegis, just feeling confident to run up, poke the tier 3 a bit. Xiao Yu.
He just wants the creep wave here. Xiao Yu, he probably just TP back here with the Rolling Thunder. It's going to leave you without Rolling Thunder. Oh, the hook shot. Not on the mark. Force still trying with the Starbreaker, but can't go through the Rolling Thunder. So he gets rid of the creep wave, and they are going to have to wait just a little bit longer for the next one. But now without Rolling Thunder up, it's going to be a much harder team fight for RSG.
And you still have the Golem, you still have Dream Coil. Excellent's doing a good job of just shoving in the mid as well. The creep wave eventually comes up, and the damage is still there on Natsumi, so they'll still get work in. We'll have to see if RSG sees that opening to use their spells right here.
Well, for now, they might have to just sacrifice this top lane of Barracks. A group up is there. Exilern looking for an initiation. Does go onto the Dragon Knight as Bushwhack is going to hold down the Medusa, but they've got the top racks already. Keep in mind, Natsumi has 2 lives right now with the Aegis up. So no real fear of dying here on the Medusa. Is a walk away with a 14k net worth lead. It's that kind of game where if you're RSG, it's your game where you've got to find a way to come back. And well, right now, at least MKS does have a BKB up, but now it just feels like he's lacking damage.
Yeah, it's the one thing with the Klinks. If you don't get that rolling start once you're behind, it feels pretty damn hard to recover. Doesn't even have something like, say, the Gleipnir build to help hold down. Never saw any sort of big combination with a Fatal Bond. It's been a tough game to really maximize that damage spillover. On the side of Polaris, I mean, they're still feeling confident. You still have 2.5 minutes on Natsumi with the Aegis. Almost have the full Swift blink up as well. Gonna be holding for the buyback instead. But they have this opportunity to shove down, although...
Yeah, Bon. From the high ground, he could land a nice bushwhack, but instead, we'll go for the decoy first. Golem being pump faked here is Natsumi. Gonna get bushwhacked up there for a moment. It's still gonna be fine. They're just trying to chip away at the mana pool of Natsumi. Very challenging when you've got a Colo behind him with Chakra Magic just being spammed constantly. You are gonna have to commit eventually here against Polaris, but they might just wait for the high ground. So Xiao Yu gonna make the jump in. They'll see the Dragon Knight trying to protect that Observer Ward. Now the jump is there. Teamfight has broken out. Onto the DK they go. There is going to be another decoy onto the Medusa. Natsumi has been trapped up at TMV. Into the backside. Onto the Klinks. They've got him held down again. MKS, he's going to BKB up this time and try to run, but the Eye of Skadi Slow's going to go right through it. He's still trying to get away, but it's such a slow process as he does eventually go down to force. Just crits him with the luminosity. And now it's high ground. RSG, I think they have to call GG in this one, John. No buyback on the Clinks.
No buyback on Clinks. They don't have the opportunity to even play with, say, a big team fight with the Golem and the Bonds and Dreamcoil. Accelerating, though, still trying to hold back.
Xavius. Keep going. I mean, they are trying to hold back the best they can, but a double siege creep is there down at the bot rack. So Natsumi, he can just get Megas right here, right now. Nothing to stop them. Zexilone is still trying. Does at least find Xavius, but Force make the jump in, but misses the Starbreaker stun. Xilone still running for his life with the orb out. His TMB is on the chase, but a bit short on mana, but now with the Soul Ring up, he might be able to turn this one. Zexilone still going on this puck. Does get the Dream Coil broken there onto the Dawnbreakers. He blinks right towards the Clockwork again. Xilone, he's really just juking and jiving on this puck as they are going to try again. Zhao Yu is going to come in with the Rolling Thunder. But what's the idea here? They're against Megas. They're going to find no form of punishment apart from the coddle. And RSG, they are not calling it.
I think they have some confidence here in just the team fight turn. They have the level 25 up on Accelerant, so Dream Coil piercing the BKBs is big. Octarine plus Quickening Charm for the spam ability on puck, very hard here to lock down. For RSG, it's really just about finding that opening. If Polaris presents it, it does feel like Polaris, very comfy spot right now. All lanes cleared out, 18k ahead. They have really good forward wards in that base as well. On the ramp sides, pretty hidden in the tree line. They have always got information as to when RSG is trying to clump up around those areas. And they have control for the next Roshan as well. So it's still a tough one for RSG to hold up on. I mean, you're maybe going to get more scaling out from MKS down the line here as well, going for what looks to be that Daedalus build-up, so damage output can shoot up. It's still a long ways off. Let's see how well they can hold, but you're holding against Adusa now. You know, you're holding against Adusa, you're holding against a DK with overwhelming blink, and the Ag's up. It's just a lot more scaling is present on Polaris. And for RSG, the one thing they have is outplay potential with Puck, but that's just so hard to rely on.
Nice jump in, Lelouch again. Gonna find Xiao Bon Bon. There is buyback available on the Hoodwink, but Polaris, they might just try and force that right now. Natsumi, he'll go through the mid lane for a moment there onto Xiao Yu. They do have the Golem up here on Roger, but it hasn't done much this game. It's Natsumi. Slowly just starts chipping away at what's remaining in this base. He'll chip away at his HP and mana pool, but again with the Chakra Magic, it's just so challenging to try and fight back. Still, hookshot is there. Xilone, he will get caught out, but no Cogs pushback. It wasn't far enough. Into the Golem drop, and now the Fatal Bond's out, but the Rocket Barrage, rather, Burning Barrage does nothing. Pushback out into the Medusa. Natsumi still fine. Instead, Xilone does get caught out, but will orb away. The puck still alive as we'll go back onto Force, but Natsumi does take down Roger. Onto Xiao Yu, he goes down the Pangolier as Xilone, somehow still alive, is going to walk his way out. Xiao Yu still the one in danger, but is still alive. As Natsumi just looks untouched and unfazed on this Medusa. Very, very hard to get that Burning Barrage damage if you don't have a great way of locking down the Medusa. They'll try again. Coil is back up in 10 seconds, but Natsumi's onto the tier 4 towers now. They'll keep disarming here with Xiao Yu as they have caught out Xiao Bon Bon. That'll be a dieback. You've lost the Hoodwinks, or a 4v5 situation for Polaris. Natsumi, he might just go for a reset, though Xiao Yu, oh, he's gonna miss the Yules. He gets a creep instead. Maybe now they can go for the fight though, but Xilone, oh, he gets caught out. Tips out immediately here from the Coddle, who gets him with the Orchid. And Natsumi, he's right back into the fray. Rolling Thunder is there. Xiao Yu, he'll jump in again with the Rocket Barrage out on the DK, but there's a hook shot. TMB catching out MKS. They want the Clinks. That's a target they really want, but instead Xiao Yu gonna try and hold them back on the Pangolier as MKS is still running. And in the meantime, Xilone, he does go down and the GG's finally called. Polaris Esports able to force this to a game number 3 here against RSG. And this time around, I mean, we all had doubts about the Clinks, John. It still looked like a decent enough game to make it work, but those early deaths on MKS really ends up costing them.
Yeah, they managed to get strong punishment out from Polaris, and committing all their sentries down, knowing the farm spots where MKS would want to go, and just prevent that buildup. They had a comfy lead this time with Natsumi coming through, and maybe going back to that itemization MKS as well. He was kind of stuck with Maelstrom hanging onto the Lincoln's buildup into Scotty instead. If he had maybe an earlier BKB, you might have had more presence, because it feels like that Plinks is so sensitive towards the mid game. Right? It does have to snowball hard. It does have to kind of get some farm and then get aggressive, and we didn't see that timing come true. The combination didn't work out as well. You know, like Fatal Bonds plus Dream Coil and say the Swashbuckle didn't really look amazing this game. And Polaris just managed to hammer it in, get stronger lanes, and secured her win condition this time around.
I really think it does come back to Force as well, because he's the one that killed the Clinks like 3-4 times in the landing stage, and then after that, with the itemization of BKB Blink, you just jump in, you catch the backline every time, you just torture Roger the whole game on this Warlock. It was a great game here from Polaris. Of course, we are going to head off to a very short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with our panel for game number 3's draft. We'll see you there.